Hey,
Wow.
How are you doing, Anna?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for having me, guys.
Thank you for joining us. You look amazing there. The scenery looks wonderful. We can tell a
Uh,
model has entered our home.
I'm a filmmaker, so I made an effort. I am in Tulum, Mexico, in the Yucatan area,
Wow.
Wow.
and this is how it feels like it. So I thought I
Wow.
would give you guys a little sunshine.
Do you want to tell the audience a little bit about you?
Yeah, briefly. I hate the CV thing, but I grew up in Brazil. I left to Europe at 18. I became a top model quite quickly. And after my career, for many reasons, ended, I started doing theater because that's what I wanted to do, and documentaries. So I've been in the industry, entertainment industry, if you will, for over 2 decades now.
And you're on a mission now. Do you want to expand on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, we have created the Cine Tribe. So you guys can visit CineTribe.club. And we are creating, and I'm really nervous, but it's a big, big thing I want to do, is an alternative to Hollywood, because be there 3 times, my early 20s, my early 30s, and my early 40s. And every time it was pretty much a disaster due to their behavior and their, sorry about the noise, I'm outside.
Right.
So, and, the difficulties they have with, their virtue, if there is any left. I don't want to criticize anybody, but it's a very hard place to be. So I've done that, and then I decided, okay, the movies I want to make, they're not going to support. I've tried many times. So I decided to go completely rogue and do my thing.
And that's what's brought you here to us. We love the
Yes,
rogue. The rogue is what appeals to us, isn't it, Shaun?
Yes.
thank you. Yes, so it's been very exciting because my husband is my partner. We have 4 scripts ready to go. And the Cine Tribe is really a community where we are going to create content and create a streaming platform and just broadcast it ourselves. Yes, we want to put the movies in cinemas, but it is not, especially right now, it's very difficult. We don't know which side is up right now, but create the movies first. We are filming, we finished filming our first. It's called Time to Die, and it's brilliant. And we are editing it now. And we are just going to continue and create content that matters, that tells good stories, that shows how humanity is beautiful and how people are wonderful instead of the other way around.
What are your thoughts on Harvey Weinstein culture, and do you have any stories from personal experience?
Definitely. So I met Harvey in the late 90s, actually. I created a film company in Ireland, and I went to Cannes with my own production company, my first script, and I was very excited. And immediately, by being outside and looking for things to do and where to go, I was tapped on the back and introduced to Harvey Weinstein in like mid-afternoon it wasn't the Martinis, actually, it was the Majestic, where everybody kind of hangs out in the afternoon after lunch. So he tapped, his guide introduced me to him. And that evening, I was invited to go to the Cap Hotel where everybody hangs out. And he gave me his card, and I was introduced to a lot of other people. And from there, I tried to get my scripts to him. I did. One of them, actually 2 of them, they really liked it. But very quickly, I understood that that was not only that wouldn't do. Having a great script wouldn't do. There was more to it. A PR friend of mine, French, old friend, did tell me after some time. I got really upset, and he said, Anna, with Harvey, don't be naive. he's not going to do anything for you until you show some, sexual favor, really. He was very blunt about it.
And that is the problem, isn't it, about being a beautiful woman in Hollywood, is that there is a price to pay for that, right?
Yes, I mean, it's kind of a chronic disease, if I could say it like that, where it is not only women as well, the men
Right.
also go through a lot. So it's not like a gender thing.
Right.
It is really in the culture. It is really a power struggle. The sociopath climb very quickly. They make sure they're the gatekeepers, and then they make sure they abuse their power. And it's across the board. Harvey, I believe, and this is something that you guys can research. I didn't go that far, but I met somebody in London. I lived in London for a long time, just moved here. I met somebody in London who is kind of a Vatican insider. And she said something very weird to me. She said, look, Harvey he was just thrown under the bus because he was not sharing mafia style his profits with the Vatican. And I thought, whoa, that is an odd thing to say. So I looked into it, and I have discovered, and I don't know if you guys already know this, the Vatican actually do invest in movies, which is an odd thing to begin with.
I'd like to know which movies they're investing in.
Well,
Ooh.
the last three, Men in Black, which is totally, programming.
Right.
We could go down the rabbit hole with
Curious.
the programming.
Yeah.
And lately they did Rocket Man, Elton John's life. I mean, how they would put over $1 million to make Elton John's movie happened. First of all, Elton John doesn't need anybody help financially.
Yeah.
And it's a very odd agenda for the Vatican to get involved. So there's a lot of stuff there that I haven't had the time to look into it. But there's so many connections between how far you can go before you're taken down. And like the mafia in Italy, there is always somebody that when the pressure is on with stuff and people starting to know because of you guys and the wonderful work you do and so many others, the pressure starts to get on, they have to throw somebody under the bus. And Harvey was the perfect guy. Number one, Harvey ended Miramax by selling it to Disney for a lot of money. He didn't like what Disney was doing with it. So he started the Weinstein Company. He's a genius, really, in the industry. He's a brilliant producer.
Oh, yeah, they loved him when he was making money.
Yeah, but you see, he was making money for himself, too much of it. So there is the major studios, the mega ones, and then there is the mini majors, and then he was one of the mini majors. And the moment you start taking too much of the pie, either they want to buy you out or they will just eliminate you somehow.
Did you ever get the impression that he was just one of many who were as predatory, if not worse, than him?
I experienced many of them. Producers, photographers, of course, in my modeling days, handlers. You can go down the rabbit hole with the handlers and the in-between guy, the agents. I mean, it's across the board. It's everybody that can, if they can put any pressure on you to take you where they want you to go with them, they will do. It's not even funny. It's very disturbing. And why I've survived that, and many women did, is that I just said no. I mean, after 3 nights that I visited the Cap Hotel on the week in Cannes, I was invited by Harvey to go at midnight to his hotel room. And of course I said no. I mean, it's like, hello. But you see, the ladies should also take responsibility, because there's a lot of women that go in the room and they have pressure from their agents as well, say, oh, he's harmless or whatever. And they will go, you don't have a business meeting in a hotel room, not in my book. It's already fishy. So then you go there and then he's like, give me a massage. And you would say, you know, it's so uncomfortable. So don't go there. So I didn't go into it. I just thought it was not a thing to do. And so I think there is a huge hypocrisy also on the female or even the male that says, oh no, yes, it's unfortunate. But you have also the responsibility to not put yourself into a situation where the guy can do something. It's a private room. He can do whatever he wants.
We recently interviewed John Paul Rice, and he said there was a savage appetite for child sex in Hollywood. What is that about?
Yes. So I have a first-hand experience on that, but it's a very delicate situation because it has a third person involved, a young boy, actually two of them. And the predator is actually still out there, probably molesting other kids right now. So it's a very delicate situation for me. The police is looking for him, I think, in 2 countries. I'm glad he doesn't know which ones. And yes, this person was Hollywood. Actually, he was a person who was involved with what was his name? He's major music. I forget his name now. Anyway, it's unfortunate, to say the least. I think there is a huge appetite because these people are very disturbed. They most likely have been molested themselves. It is very much in the family lines of the big bankers. And I know you interviewed Anneke Lucas as well. Anneke Lucas is very, she lived the story from Belgium, and she understands a lot better. But there is the same agenda in Hollywood. Many kids, and I have seen mothers actually that should take responsibility. Of course, they are lied to many times, but mothers that are starstruck and they
parents are atrocious. They hand their children over like, if you're famous, you can have complete free reign of my child. Mothers and fathers, I blame them both, and carers. I completely agree with you, Anna. Terrible.
Yes. So what I like to come across also, apart from creating the content and on the mission that I'm on, is to actually warn all these teenagers. I have another thing that I've created, and I want to coach models, young models. Of course, it has not been received well. It's work ethics for models, where they kind of learn the pitfalls before they become very big. But of course, the agents are not really supportive of the idea. Only a few. I was very lucky to have an agent called City Models at the time. Was a boutique agency, and she was hardcore. She did not want anybody. She would not allow anybody to touch her girls, and she was very straightforward about that. So there is a gray area, humongous gray area in these businesses where there are the predators, and of course they go where they can find the people to prey upon, And so mothers that just leave their child unattended, mothers that are lied to. Another thing I realized with child abuse, child sexual abuse, is that I think 60% of the cases are family members and people very close to you, best friends.
Yes.
So these or the child. One thing that I want to tell you is that when this person went to England, in London, because he was molested in London, he went to testify, he went to the police, and this is an incredible thing. So the question of the officer was it a child protection office that abused you? Somebody in the child protection office, I think in England.
Child protection.
Was that. So it was quite surprising to me, because it was almost like there is a different route that the police would take if it was from an officer than from, you know, a person that.
Interesting. Don't worry. I know we've just momentarily lost Shaun. Oh, here he is. He's back again.
Just a battery change. What I was going to say was, if you were moving in similar circles as Weinstein, were you moving in similar circles as Epstein and Maxwell, Prince Andrew?
Yes. So what happened to me is that I was very specific in the movie industry at the time. So Epstein, his name, he was in New York. I was in Paris, in London mostly. When I went to New York, I was already in the movie industry. So it's a kind of a different, I think what I understood is that he was the one that connected the modeling industry to the movie industry. So I was beyond that, because I was already independent. I had my company, and the modeling industry already knew that I was not going to be preyed upon, because I made sure. So I had move over, and so I didn't meet him. But I know of people that understands that for them to prey upon models, because you see, the younger they are, the better it is.
Of course.
So if you were talking about 15, 16-year-old girls that sometimes come with their mother as well, it's very easy. And even when I went to Milan the first time, I found myself in a chateau. We went there, a few of us with my agent, for lunch, and then he disappeared. So it's immediately, they throw you on the deep end. Okay, I was already 18, but there was 15, 16-year-old girls. So they say, oh, let's go for a weekend in this nice house, free lunch, you know, and you're 16 and you think, okay, I'm in the city. I was in Milan. And then he was gone. And there's this older man, and it was weird, and the sauna thing. I left by foot that day, by foot. I walked, and then I got a hitchhike or whatever I had to do. So very soon, people understood that I was not going to cooperate. So I went so far. But it's very easy to allure girls at 15, 16, 17 who doesn't have the backbone and the personality I have, to say, oh, you know, if you just do this a little bit, and then you're going to get this and you're going to get that. And then some of them, you know, never even make to a magazine or the cover or even a fashion show. They're just throwing away as fast as they can. It's So it's across the board, with children, with very young ladies and boys as well. I mean, there is a photographer, I can't name him because it would be difficult.
No, don't worry. You know? We don't need to get into defamation. Don't worry.
He goes to Brazil quite a lot. He's a huge photographer. And he is like surrounded by 15, 16-year-old boys from Rio. And it's just dreadful. I know him. He was horrible to me. So
one of the impressions that I got from listening to you speak was that you, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I definitely got the impression that you felt that both Harvey Weinstein and the Me Too movement were really like smoke screens. It's like throwing something out there, but nothing has really changed. Have I got that right?
No. Yes, you're totally right. What happens is that, you see, the Me Too movement, if it was genuine for 2 weeks, they came out with Oprah Winfrey and all the usual suspects. They came out with time is up,
right?
Because they have to dilute, right? So all these people came out, and the first thing they do, they attack your character. They will find something you did wrong. I mean, who didn't do something wrong sometime, you know? And then they will start smearing campaigns and everything if you had any celebrity and anything. But the Me Too movement was an attempt, maybe. But very quickly it was diluted, and it was taken over by Hollywood and changed into something else. And it was only to relieve the pressure, because people get tired. They're like, come on now.
Yeah.
You know, it's been so long that it's the same story. But until everybody takes responsibility to say, look, I am not going to do this. I was in LA 2 years ago, and I met this lovely lady. She was doing Shakespeare. She was studying acting. She was pretty. She wasn't like drop dead gorgeous, but she was very pretty. She was looking for a job as a secretary in a music, in a small little music industry, you know, agent or something. They asked her to send a topless photo of herself to get the job.
Right.
I mean, they're on your face. Wow. It's not even funny because it's not only disrespectful.
Yeah.
They will laugh. It's like, ha, 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 just see that idiot, you know? And it's totally, the agenda is against family values, if any values at all. 12, 13-year-olds being sexualized, 11-year-olds with this new movie now. They
Cuties. Cuties.
Yeah. You know what I mean? It's hideous. And the parents need to take a stand.
Yes.
And the children themselves, they need to learn that this is not okay. You do not get pulled by the hand at 15 even, you know. Right. Sexual consent in, I think in Brazil, I grew up there, in many other countries, it's 15 years old. It's way too young.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, even if they're discovering their sexuality, it's way too young to just say, okay, well, now it's not a rape anymore. Excuse me.
Yeah.
You know, so these children are innocent. They should be taken care of, educated, and parents should take responsibility. And my mission is to create content to help them be stronger and to say no to anybody who thinks is, you know, it's okay to just allure people into some sexual favors for fame or money.
That's a great mission. Okay. That's a great mission. How can people find you?
Yes, so I have CineTribe.club. The website is not completely up yet. And then I have, you know, yogamayafilms.com. That Yoga Maya in Sanskrit, it means illusion. So we are opening the curtain of illusion. So it's called yogamayafilms.com. And I could send you some links more for my Twitter and my Instagram for people to connect if they want to. Our first movie now we are doing is called Time to Die. And it's really about how humanity is beautiful and how, you know, artistry can change the world.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely brilliant, and I really appreciate you coming on.
Thank you so much.
What you're doing. Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.
Such a wonderful work. You know, it's necessary, and I'm glad that you are able to share so many stories that are, you know, much more dramatic than mine. And you have such a heart, Shaun. You know, I see your eyes filled with tears, and I hope we can have more conversations because there is, you know, there is some dramas that, you know, even when I speak with Aniki, we say, dude, we can't believe what's happening.
Right.
And by coming together, we can slowly unravel, you know, and unfold
absolutely
this thing and put it in the light and just say, look, guys, this is the reality. This is what's really going on. So if you could stop watching Disney movies with all the weird stuff.
Couldn't agree with you more, my darling. Absolutely.
Start there. Subliminal messages everywhere. We're going to do the opposite. We're going to put the good stuff in and just let's broadcast and see, you know, the world's change before our eyes.
Yeah. And I like the idea that you're going to build stronger people for the entertainment industry. That is a fantastic mission, because I've worked in the entertainment industry. I know how savage it is. I know how people are compromised. I know how young people are compromised. I know how parents will sell their firstborn to get a record deal for their children sometimes. Oh, I know, it's terrible. It's absolutely heinous. Listen, Anna, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Anna, and please feel free to you know, bring me back on if you feel that I can, you know, contribute anymore. I'm really happy and thankful.
Thank you. Really. Thank you so much. God bless you. Take care of you.
Take
Thank
care.
you. Enjoy that movie. Take care.